Investing in agriculture is one of the most high-impact and cost-effective strategies available for reducing poverty and saving and improving lives. I can't read my own writing, sorry. Oftentimes, people think that you're not modern and that if you do agriculture anymore. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. If you don't do agriculture, you don't eat. And that's the most important goal of any society, to sustain itself and to sustain the next generation. That was Hillary Clinton at the last global climate change talks that took place a bit back end of last year in Doha. And what it contextualizes is that there's a growing awareness globally that we really, really have to take very seriously the idea of food security. And I'll just play around with some thoughts, and this is my lesson plan at work, all right? Some thoughts about the sorts of things that raises for us. First of all, the classic thing that we've got to remember, and that we've sort of forgotten over the modern times, that as Louis Pasteur said on his deathbed, if ever you want to find out what really is the pithy thing that someone's learnt in their entire life, find out what they said just before they pegged it, okay? You know? So this is his bit. This is the guy who did pasteurising and all that stuff. Bernard is right. The pathogen is nothing. The terrain is everything. This stuff that's out here that we tend to keep our kids away from because it's dirty. The stuff out there that's a little bit wild and unknown, where the wolves are. The stuff out there which is often quite hostile and seen as hostile because our modern minds like the idea of being in the safe environments of this sort of illusion of certainty. So we go back a bit in time, and the guy this morning, wasn't he fantastic? You know, and it just caught the essence, I think, of what the day for me has been, those threads of thinking about how we connect into the important things in life. Vancouver, this is 1898. It's not a very big place. The terrain is still very evident from what was there, not just what is here now. And if you jump forward, it's just like every other modern industrialised city. We've eliminated nature from that environment, and we've created this human-centric world. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, and actually Vancouver's a beautiful city compared to, say, Wuhan in China, which is a total nightmare in terms of the way it's been planned, because at least in this city you can first of all see the mountains, and you haven't built all over them yet, and secondly, that you have, in a sense, already got the ethic of bringing the urban agriculture back into the infrastructure of the city environment. It's a very, very interesting and radical place globally, and people are looking at Vancouver for leadership on it. And I think it gives us a pointer towards what we might do with schools. It also indicates that we are at our earliest stages of understanding this stuff. This is the guy, his leg's going up there, and he's saying, whoa, that was a good one, try it, Hobbs, just poke his brain right where my finger is. And then, woo! So we don't really know yet a lot of the science. We don't really know yet what we're into. But what's really fun is there's some amazing stuff going on with amazing possibilities. It's a weird world, you know? This is other stuff. This is just a trawl of what's gone on in the last month in terms of some of the big stuff that's happening. When I was in Australia, and this is less than 10 days ago, Space Mining Australia Private Limited was launched. It's Cameron, whatever his name is, not our Prime Minister, James Cameron, the guy that makes movies, and some other rich geezer. Anyway, they've set up a mining company to go out into deep space, theoretically, and mine the asteroid belt. Just get your head on that a minute, you know? Let alone the fact that it's just a weird idea. Is it ethical? You know, should we be going into that sort of mindset to start to trash the asteroid belt? Is it ours? You know, all that stuff that it raises is just fascinating. And what a way of starting to think about sustainability. It doesn't have to be sort of tree-hubbing hippie stuff. You can actually get some really interesting ethical challenges around what on earth are we doing on the planet. At the same time, that's the universe, massive. This stuff, atomic level or nanotechnologies. A couple of weeks ago, somebody registered a patent that's able to inject into blood cells. So you can chuck a thing inside you. You can tell my science is really rock hard and solid. And this will go around your body and it will inject into the red blood cells. So that's been patented. So we have nanotechnology, we have space technology, all in the space of a week. And then we have retro technology, the steampunk workshop, well worth a look at, really interesting stuff, where they're sort of reusing new technology, but they're retrofitting it to look like it's invented by the Australians, and he said, by the Victorians, 100 years back. So, and then up the top there, the work that was going on, saying they're starting to work out what the heck happened to the Oral Sea. That scene that slowly disappeared, and the basic idea being that the fishing boats are now completely landlocked. You can go for miles and miles and miles, there's not a drop of water near them. So it's a weird world, And it's a weird world for other reasons, but the main one, I think, is primarily because for the last 200 years, we've been doing what that illustrates on the on the left-hand side. We've been eradicating nature, systematically cleansing it to make it very, very efficient for our purposes. And in doing that, we've created rather a sort of linear, monocultural, sort of two-dimensional version of the world. Whereas nature has been doing this for one heck of a long time. It's been doing that for one heck of a long time. And it hasn't had to have a lesson plan, and it hasn't had to have a development plan, and nobody's orchestrated it. So there's some interesting lessons to learn from what this could tell us about where we might need to go next if we really are significantly going to start to look at our world as a sustainable resource, rather than something that we just completely and utterly trash over the next 20 to 30 years.
From birth to puberty, a hamster doubles its weight each week. If it didn't stop when mature, as animals do, and continue to double, on its first birthday, we would be staring at a 9 billion ton hamster. This hamster could eat all of the corn produced annually worldwide in a single day and still be hungry. There is a reason why, in nature, things grow in size only to a certain point. So why do most economists and politicians think that the economy can grow forever and ever and ever?
It's from the New Economics Foundation's website, and it's a great little film. I use that a lot with kids. The youngest children we've looked at with that are 3-year-olds. And they get it. They sort of get the story that this is important and we need to think about it very carefully, and we need to start to think about how we attend to these things in our own personal lives, and how perhaps we could then extend that to our family and our school community, and a bit wider and a bit wider. It's not rocket science, it's simply a sort of attitude of mind and a method, and we need to think differently about that method.